February 5th, 2015. And last night I made two video clips, not really getting into more of the rapes that occurred against me, but talking more about counseling that I had gone to and records that were missing, which I have never been able to locate or get copies of in the state of Oregon. And also talking a little bit about what I have wondered was possibly the motives behind that, because of how the law works with regard to damages and accounting for those damages. And so it wasn't, I think it's relevant information, but anyway, I'm going to talk about the next rape that happened to me. I want to describe my surroundings just a little bit before I do, because my house has been under a little bit of construction because I've had several things happen here recently. And this right here is my latest computer, which is still in the box, because my other computer, my other laptop, is having a lot of problems. It's been holding up okay, but it's pretty much almost not functional anymore. And this is the 6th. Okay, this is the 6th. 6th or 7th. Possibly the 7th, but I know for sure it's the 6th laptop I've had in 3 years. And I am not a gamer. I don't, I hardly put CDs or DVDs on my laptops. And the only things that I really do on a laptop are take pictures, a few pictures, not tons, but I take a few pictures, make some videos, video clips. I do a lot of internet searches and word processing. So basically it's kind of, I'm not taking up that much memory on any of these computers, and I'm really not taxing them or wearing them out. And out of the 6 computers I've had, 5 of them, this one hasn't crashed on me completely, but I haven't started writing a complaint to the UN or to the Department of Justice yet either on that one, or not on this one, on the one that I'm still using, which is going to be replaced by this one, which is still in the box. And anyway, this 5th computer that I have, which I am still using, sort of, has not, like, as I say, completely crashed or shut down entirely, but all of the other ones that I've had have done that. And each time it was right in the middle of, or when I was really starting to round out my complaint to the UN and get ready to start to edit it, add a few more things, and be prepared to send it out. And it's actually happened not just with my UN complaint, which has been about torture and violation of human rights in the United States. It's also been anytime I try writing the Office of the Inspector General for the Department of Justice over in Washington, D.C. And I really don't know why that is, because that's a U.S. agency, and so far a lot of the U.S. agencies have all been in, basically, as I say, cahoots together with regard to concealment and, defending each other and their agencies. So, for example, the CIA is protected, the FBI is protected, the Pentagon is protected, the cops, etc. So, really don't expect too much out of the OIG for the Department of Justice. And the Department of Justice itself is really corrupt. What do you expect? You have a bunch of lawyers in one big building and answering to one big group. And so I don't expect, I shouldn't expect that much from the OIG, but for whatever reason, anytime in the last, like the last 10 years that I have attempted to try to contact the OIG, I've had all kinds of really horrible things happen to me. Either happened to me, or my computer and what I'm trying to write a report on, or whatever, it gets fried, or completely shuts down, or crashes. I'm not joking around. It's like overnight, or in the moment of my attempt to, you know, try to send something out. So I even had my telecommunications at various times when I was trying to reach the OIG by telephone. I've experienced having my my phone call rerouted to some other phone number that had nothing to do with the OIG. And, you know, I didn't dial it wrong. I didn't dial the phone number wrong. It just got rerouted somehow, and I was patched through to some other, like a personal house that belonged to somebody. So I've had a really hard time, you know, and I'm not quite sure if it's the professional liability fund people, not the professional liability fund people, but professional responsibility group over there in DC, or the OIG that's more feared. But I think it's the OIG, at least dependent upon who is running it, maybe. And, you know, at different times when I've tried to contact the OIG, whoever was in charge at the time, I think was feared a little bit by the FBI group and maybe a couple other groups. And that person is not director anymore. I mean, it's been a while. But I've just had so many problems with that. And so I kind of thought, well, maybe it has really nothing to do with the OIG, because what are they going to do? You know, they possibly might not do anything about the FBI corruption and different things. You know, there's a chance they could investigate and do something, maybe, if the right person got it. But the way everything's closed in on me, and any kind of case I try to report, you know, I'm not really optimistic about it. But my other idea about, you know, why this was such a big deal for me to contact the OIG is because I think it's sort of like the last stop. It's kind of like when you're writing to the UN, you're letting them know, you know, you're letting the United Nations board or whatever know, yes, I've done this, this, and this, and I've contacted this agency, that agency, and this other one over here. And I then took it to the OIG, you know, or whatever. I mean, the OIG is kind of like another step out there. And then after that, you say, you know, so honestly, I have exhausted any possible legal remedy that there is. And so now I come to you with my report and complaint. And you don't always have to, if you're addressing the UN about torture and that kind of thing, you don't have to necessarily go to the OIG first. I mean, if you're getting blocked and blindsided all the time by somebody or by a group and having so many problems, it's making your life impossible, and the attempt to contact anyone further in the U.S. impossible. You can just go right through and let the UN know and say, you know, I am trying to do a few other things, but, you know, I'm getting blocked. You know, I'm having this happen and that happen, and it's impossible to do. And then you can just send your complaint in to the UN and have them have a look at it. But I haven't ever been able to send it in completely, because I've not wanted to just send in a half-baked report that gets tossed out or ridiculed and has no evidence or anything supporting it that goes with it. I mean, I've wanted to do something that's professional, and so every time I start getting into writing my report, and, you know, I've had to start over with all these different computers because all of my documentation and data has been lost. I took one of my computers to a computer shop and had tried to retrieve all of the hard drive after it crashed, and they said everything was wiped out. I mean, they said there was nothing on my computer. They couldn't get into it at all at first, and then when they got into it, they said it had been wiped clean. And so I haven't taken any of the other computers into shops because, you know, I had to spend a lot of money for that, and I'm not sure that there's going to be a very good outcome anyway. And so with the other computers, it didn't matter whether it was a CD and I had stored something on a CD, or whether it was my hard drive that I was storing data, such as, you know, a Word document or something like that. It was all getting wiped out. my computer was breaking down so I couldn't access it. My CD files were saying they were corrupted, and I couldn't use them in other on other laptops. And so anytime I tried to do something like that, I have not been able to. I mean, I wrote at one point I got to like 200 pages, and then I was trying to edit it down and make it a little more concise for the UN. But I had about 200 pages on into my UN report. And that was before I was going to then try to make it easier to read, edit it, and add some evidence. And then all of a sudden, I was just kind of finally getting somewhere with it, and then my computer crashed. Like anytime, and actually it crashed that time. I remember specifically. I was kind of like being allowed, I guess, to write this report to the UN. Until all of a sudden I decided to then parallel and go from work on my UN report, and I decided, you know what, I need to put this into the OIG as well. I could do something at least over to their department at the same time, and maybe do a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. Like bam, bam, bam. Hit the OIG with this, see if they do anything about it, and then have this other UN complaint just ready to go. So I started working on my OIG report, and then the minute that I started doing OIG, my computer crashed. So, it's been very hard to try to get a real report out. And I just wanted to point to this computer here, and then I still have a little bit of clutter, my books and papers everywhere because of all these different things that I'm doing. But that is computer or laptop number 6 or number 7 from the last 3 years that I've had to buy. And when I was not writing reports, not sending anything to anyone, I was able to keep my computer for 15 years. I mean, for 15 years I didn't have any problems with one computer that I purchased. And then the minute that I started writing about government stuff, right after I started writing about government things, when things were getting weird with me and my son Oliver over in Wenatchee, Washington, all of a sudden this wonderful computer that had lasted all this time, that I did no gaming on, and had only done a little bit of Word documents with and internet searches with, all of a sudden it fried up. And that one really fried. I mean, like the ink splattered all over the plate, the back, the plate of the drive thing. And you could smell a burning smell from the outlet, the extension outlet, like the cord on the wall got really, really hot. But what was weird is that the cord got hot and the outlet was really hot, and then but then the computer just like blew up. And I don't really know why a heated up cord would specifically generate energy or electricity directly to the box that has all the ink in it. But it either did that or it was getting hit from a different angle by something else and exploded. But I had ink all over the place. And there was a plate on the back of it. It wasn't open. But it was so bad that there was ink oozing out of the little filter holes that were in the back plate of the drive. So, and that was a desk. That was a desktop. That was not a laptop. So I'm talking about the box. The box that goes under your desk. And it's like about this, this big, a little bigger than that. And the little rectangular thing, and then it has a back plate, and you can take it off if you need to and move things around. Well, anyway, I don't know why there was ink in there to begin with. It wasn't a printer, but whatever ink was there was all over the place. So I am now through explaining what has happened to all my computers, and I am going to talk about this other rate.